What's up, everybody? This is Zips once again from Total Gaming Network and CS Nation, and today we're going to take a quick look at Shadowrun Returns. Blending elements of cyberpunk, fantasy, gritty crime, murder mystery, pretty much a little bit of everything. This game has it. Now, I'm going to be upfront here and say that I have not played anything from this series prior to this game outside of that, somewhat crappy 2007 shooter that had the Shadowrun name on it. It was a cross-platform game. Wasn't too well received. But that is the only one I played. So this is kind of all new to me, and the only reason I'm really playing this or taking a look at it is because I saw some gameplay footage of it, and it looked a lot like XCOM. I had no idea that this game was like XCOM, because again, my first taste of Shadowrun was that shooter. So this was a pleasant surprise, to be honest with you. And we're not going to go into too much detail here. This is some early gameplay footage, and you can see there's a lot of text, there's a lot of dialogue, and it seamlessly blends into some of the combat areas, which is very nice, very RPG-ish. The only thing I really have issue with this game, well, there's a couple things actually. One, the lack of interaction with the environment kind of sucks. I mean, there are some things where you can interact with, and there will be an icon where you can go click on it and interact with things, but it doesn't seem like there's enough. Like, there's all these buildings in this first city, but you really can't do too much. There's all this stuff around a bar, and you really can't do too much there either. You can talk with people, sometimes. You can overhear conversations, but things that you would like to interact with, you can't. It's all static background, you know, like the old Final Fantasy games. You really can't do too much there. Another issue I have is with the game's save system, or, well, lack thereof. There is no quick save, there is no manual save, you gotta rely on checkpoints. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Other than that, though, it is pretty cool what this game does. Like I said, it blends the gameplay of XCOM, and I'm only mentioning that because it's probably what a lot of gamers out there are more familiar with because it's a more recent title. I don't know how many of you watching this have played the old Shadowrun games, or if you're like me, you never played them before anyway, even if you had the chance to. So this will be your first taste of it. The combat's great. You get a mixture of like fantasy, spell casting if you want. You can go guns, you can go melee, you can go short range, long range, whatever you want. You can even have some combination of all of them if you prefer. You do get multiple partners, but you do play as one character. You get to create who you are from a human, elf, dwarf, orc, or troll. And then the various classes include Street Samurai, which is kind of a generic, just, you know, kind of weapons-oriented type person. Mage, Decker, Shaman, Rigger, or Physical Adept. And they all have their strengths and weaknesses, as you might expect. Shadowrun, if you don't know, started off as a tabletop card game, I believe it was, and I'm sure I'll be corrected about that if that isn't the case, but hopefully I'm right on that one. It's got huge, you know, RPG fantasy roots, kind of like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, but in a whole different universe, and it's very cool. If you don't like reading, this game probably isn't for you because, again, very heavy on the dialogue. Very, very heavy on the dialogue. There are speech trees that you can go down, and depending on what class or what race you are, sometimes you get different speech options in order to progress the story. Other times you won't have those options available to you, so you know, different outcomes based on how you decide to play the game, really. So that's pretty cool. Other times, though, there are multiple dialogue options, and really you can just cycle through all of them. You know, like an old school RPG, you just cycle through all of them before there's no more options left, and you can just continue on then if you wish. But it's got a very rich story so far, and you take it all in. And if you just skim through a lot of stuff, you're gonna miss out on a lot of the story because there's no real spoken dialogue for a lot of it, which, you know, I really don't mind. I really kind of like the old school feel of this. You should check this out. It's pretty cheap on Steam right now. Okay, the link is in the description below for Shadowrun Returns. It is $19.99 on Steam right now. It's available for Windows or Mac. I don't think Linux has a port of it yet. From what I can tell, it doesn't look like it. So right now, just, you know, Windows and Mac. So that should be good for a lot of you out there. It's not very demanding in terms of, you know, system resources or anything. So you should go check that out, though. This has been Zips for TGN and CSN. I would like to come back to this at some point, depending on how much time I have. Maybe give it a proper review. But so far, hey, it gets a thumbs up from me, which really doesn't jive with anything or any scoring system we've had before, so take that for what you will. Until next time, this has been Zips for TGN and CSN. We'll catch you next time.